beautiful souls, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be probably long, it's gonna be chatty, so cuddle up, grab a snack, relax as we talk about these decks. So today's video, I want to talk about decks that I want to use like the rest of fall, Christmas, and winter time. So like what I'm really feeling drawn to work with in this dark part of the year during winter through Christmas, through like January and February, because that's when we get the most snow. So just what I feel like I'm being called to use right now. Now, no matter what I choose to work with for myself for like a specific season or a time frame, it really just depends on what I'm drawn to. This is the energy I'm feeling for this upcoming winter, but I could, be really drawn to work with a certain deck that is not in this lineup. And I do talk about that and go through that in my monthly favorites. So these are some decks that I either save for this time of year, or I'm just feeling like their energy is kind of encompassing the winter time. I have quite a few here. I'm just going to start grabbing from my shelf over here. Okay, so these two I feel like are going to be the main ones that I want to use in the wintertime and during Christmas. So this is the Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle. Now, this is the only deck I have that is meant to be used in Yule or like, themed around Christmas. I feel like there's not a lot of mass market wintry decks or Christmas decks out there that are like meant to be used during this time. But this one is themed around Yule. And I have all of the Seasons of the Witch decks that there is. And I have worked with them so much over this past year. And this is the one that I got during Yule last year, and I didn't get to work with it as much as I wanted to because I was in the middle of moving and all of this other stuff. So I am so excited to deep dive into this deck, to get to know it, to get to know most of the cards and the guidebook, just to get a feel for this. So this is going to be the main deck I want to use during this dark part of the year, during the summertime, and even up until like this fall. I was using the Seasons of the Witch Beltane like a lot, and I felt like I really connected with that deck. Seasons of the Witch Samhain is one of my favorite decks of all time, and so I really want to connect and dive deep with this deck. It is so wintry and beautiful. I did use it last year up until like the snow ended, basically, because it has a Christmassy feel to it. Obviously there's a Christmas tree right here, but it also just feels wintry, which I love. So I'm very excited to work with this deck and have it be kind of the main oracle. I feel like honestly I could get rid of most of my oracle decks. Seasons of the Witch Samhain decks are like the ones I would keep, because they're exactly what I use in my practice and what I love in my practice. Now, the main tarot deck that I like to use during Christmas time that I feel like is a Christmas deck, and I'll explain why, is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. Excuse me. Forest of Enchantment Tarot. Now, I love this deck. It is like witchy, it is magical, it's storybook, it's fairy tale, it has all of these beautiful elements to it. And I got it, I would say I got it like mid 2021, and I really was drawn to use it during December, and I deep dived into the guidebook. I really learned this deck. I want to do that again this year because I feel like there's a lot of elements I've forgotten. But this is a beautiful deck, and I was thinking why does this remind me of Christmas time? Why does this you can use this in the summer and the spring. I feel like a lot of people like to use it then, but I was thinking like, why does this remind me of Christmas so much? And I was like, it reminds me of the Barbie Nutcracker movie, and like with all the fairies and like the, you know, like sugar plum fairies. It just reminds me of that. It's like whimsical, and it's just, I think like that storybook magic feel is how I grew up feeling about Christmas time. And that's how the energy of this deck is for me. So a lot of the cards do depict like spring and summer, you know, scenes. But even then, it feels like Christmas time. It feels like that magic of Christmas. So I'm excited to really like dive into this again and use it a lot. I love how it pairs with the Seasons of the Witch Yule. So these are the two that I'm most excited to use because I kind of like saved them to use during Christmas and winter time. So that is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. Okay, next up I have the Greenwich Tarot, which is one of my favorite decks. And I feel like during this winter time, I'm just feeling really drawn to use decks that are witchy. Like that is kind of the main theme here. And decks that connect me to that, to the earth, and just to that witchy energy. Like I love it. And this pairs beautifully with the Seasons of the Witch Yule as well. This deck pairs beautifully with all of the Seasons of the Witch decks. And we have this green here, so it'll look really beautiful next to Seasons of the Witch Yule. The backs are very Christmassy, but I find I'm drawn to use this deck all year round. It's one of the main decks I use, but I feel like I haven't done a dedicated, like, I've read through the guidebook, I've like dived into that, but I feel like I just want to do some deeper work with this year, or this end of the year. I don't know, I want to take it to another level. I feel like this deck is so potent and beautiful for me. I use it in readings, I use it for myself, but I just want to take it to the next level. Like I feel like there's some deeper work I can do with this. So I feel like this is going to be one of the main decks I'm using during the winter time. It does have some cards that feel like winter and Christmas, but I think it's just the energy of this one. I'm really wanting to bring out all of my witchy decks during this winter time season. So that is the Greenwich Tarot. So, all right, let's talk about this. I want to work with this one too, Seasons of the Witch, Samhain. This is the only one I would say out of the three Seasons of the Witch decks that feels the most just like a witchy deck. Like it feels the most, I don't know why there's like reversals and stuff in here. It feels the most versatile. It just feels like this witchy dark energy that I want to tap into. You do get fall vibes from this for sure. But I feel like, because they're coming out with a Mabon deck, that's the next like iteration of the Seasons of the Witch, and I feel like that is going to be the main like fall deck. This one just has a whole different energy. I don't know if it's just because it was the first one that they made. It just feels like my perfect witchy deck, and I talk about this all the time. It's one of my favorite decks, but I think I love pairing the Seasons of the Witch oracles together, so I'm going to pair this with the Yule deck. I love pairing this one with the Beltane. I have my Beltane one out too, but that's not really one I want to focus on because I've used it so much this year. But if I'm drawn to use it, like, I'll use it, you know. They just pair so beautifully all together. So, of course, I want to use this to pair with my witchy decks. It pairs so well with the Greenwich Tarot. It's just, I love this deck. Okay, next one we have is Oracle of the Witch. I do really like the red and green kind of thing I have going on here, you know, for Christmas. This deck is very intense. It's very different energy than the Seasons of the Witch. This is very, to be honest, I don't know how to explain the energy. It's like Wiccan, kind of. I know that the authors of this deck follow like a Wiccan path. It's very intense. It's like very like following the structure of a witchy lifestyle. It has almost, the energy is very strong coming off of this deck. Like this isn't one that I would use multiple cards in a spread. Like that is not how I would use this. This is like very potent energy, and I have a deck coming up that I want to really like pair it with. This is not going to be one that I bring out like all the time to do in readings and all of that. This is very much, to me, being used in my personal path to really dive deep into that witchy energy, which I feel like that's why I'm being drawn to work with all these witchy decks during this time, is like there's something I need to learn, or there's something I need to further on my path. So this one I feel like is really going to help with pushing me through like, you know, things that I need to work on, like just pushing me past, pushing me out of my comfort zone, you know. This is a very strong deck. Like even just looking at it and having it out, like I have like a reaction to the energy. So I'll only bring this out for like very specific things. So that's Oracle of the Witch. And I feel like this will be very potent and pair really well with my Crimson Asteria Tarot. This is also just, it feels like a really witchy deck to me. It's very potent. Again, if I want to do very specific work around my life path, this is the deck that I bring out. I took a break from it for a few months because it's very intense. And of course we have this red. So I feel like I really want to pair this with the Oracle of the Witch. But I think it'll pair really well with, like we also have this gold element going on, which I have some decks that have gold in them. So I feel like all of these decks I've picked will pair really well with each other. Like there's a lot of mixing and matching going on here. But I think it'll look really pretty with the Yule deck, with the Samhain. I've used it with the Samhain deck before. So I'm just really excited to use this and find what else I need to work on my witchy path. I feel like I'll be able to really unlock some secrets with those two together, for sure. These are ones that I don't think I'll bring out a lot, just for very specific work. So another one that I want to bring out is my Witches Oracle. This is by Sally Morningstar. I've trimmed the borders off mine. I just feel like with all of these witchy decks, I have to bring this one out. This is such a beautiful oracle deck. It's very like matter of fact. I feel like this isn't one that, I mean, it helps me on my witchy journey, and it helps me, I'm sorry if this is shaking. It helps me dive deep, of course, but there's something about it that's just very like to the point. But it's also very powerful as well. And again, this pairs beautifully with all of the decks I've mentioned, all the witchy decks. I have a bow in it. I don't know how to fix it. If you guys know how to fix, like when your deck does, I don't know if you can see what it's doing, but it rocks back and forth. I've tried like putting heavy stuff on top of it, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem to work. So if you guys know how to fix that, please let me know, because that is one thing that bothers me about this deck. Okay. I want to play around with this deck. I feel like I've neglected this deck in my collection. This is the Anna K Tarot. And it has a very wintry energy to me. These are the backs. This is the edges. I feel like I want to use this a lot in like client readings and pick a card readings. And I've heard a lot of people talk about how this deck is very like rooted in like real life. It does feel like that. It's kind of like in medieval times, but there's something about the people in this deck that I find really fascinating, the way that they're depicted. I think they're so beautiful. Like, they look like real people to me. And a lot of people like complain about them being ugly, but I just think they look so human. Like, they look like what we would look like, you know? I love this deck. It just feels very practical, I guess. Like, it just feels like what it's depicting is everyday stuff. I mean, not this one, but I don't know. I want to play with it more. It does have like a very wintry feel to me. We have this beautiful like yellow that is throughout the deck as well, but it feels very wintry to me. Feels like Christmas Village, like just people working hard. Like, I don't know. I really, really like this deck. But I haven't used it a lot. So I want this to be like my main practical deck or like for client readings to bring in to use for other people. That is going to be a priority to work with this deck, just to get more of a connection with it, because I don't have that much of a relationship with it. This deck feels so wintry to me. This is the Rune Tarot. I used it a lot last winter, and I didn't use it much this year, so I want to use it this winter season. This is the backs. This has very much like Viking feel. It has a lot of fire in it, but it also feels very cold. I love the font on it. Like, that just feels so like cold. Like, I don't know. That is beautiful, isn't it? I love this deck. I feel like I've neglected it a lot this year, but I feel like it's just because it feels like such a wintry deck for me. So that's when I want to use it. Look at that 3 of Wands. I love that. 4 of Swords with like the Viking death or like funeral. I love that. This is one that can help you learn runes. I don't want to deep dive into runes. I'm not ready. I've tried, but I'm not ready. So maybe this deck will spark that. But it's just, it has a lot of, I like the imagery. It's different. It takes a whole different look at the tarot, and I'm excited to play with this more because I feel like I haven't really dived super deep with this deck. I really love it. So that is the Runic Tarot. Again, I feel like this is one I want to use in readings for other people, and just kind of study it some more. So that's the Runic Tarot. Okay, just a few more that I feel like I really want to focus on. This is my mega deck of Goddess Love and Goddess Dream Oracle. So you can see there's 2 different backs there. They're by the same artist, Wendy Andrews. And I wanted a goddess energy deck, and I feel like this one felt the most wintry to me. I love this deck. I love both of these decks. So this one, let me see. The one with these backs is my favorite. It's the Goddess Dream. It feels witchier to me. But I do really like both of them. So I thought I'd just combine them and use them as a mega deck, because I've used this one so much that I feel like I kind of got what I needed to out of it. but I haven't used it in a while. I haven't used either of these in a while, so I feel like this is a good deck to add to the end of a reading to give, like, because a lot of these messages are just really, like, positive, but uplifting. So I feel like this will be good to add into readings at the end, after a hard reading, just to have something uplifting there. So that is my goddess energy I want to bring into this winter time. Okay, let's talk about this little pairing that I really want to play around with. This is the Golden Tarot. I had this on my shelf. I didn't bring it out because I feel like, again, this like gold reminds me of like Christmas time. I'm really into gold. Like, I've been decorating my house in a lot of gold, just in general, not for Christmas, but I really want to play around with this deck. I tried to use it in a client reading once and it just wasn't speaking to me. So I need to play around with it more for just me and see like how our relationship is, because it just wasn't working for client readings, which is fine. Like, maybe it just doesn't want to be used for that. But all of these images, like when I'm looking at them individually, they speak to me. I love the medieval feel. Like, I love that. I really, really love this deck. And I feel like the deck I want to pair it with. So I'm going to show these together because I haven't seen, like, I want to test to see if they'll work good together. So this is the Art Through the Starstream Oracle. I don't know why. I think it's the gold, again, on this deck that makes me feel like I want to use it right now. So let's see how these work together. I mean, the borders look really good. So we have, you are immortal. Make your decisions carefully with the 9 of Wands. How perfect is that? 4 of Cups with dance your troubles away. That is beautiful. 5 of Wands with acclimate, accept where you are. Stop trying to fight it. I like that we have the chick. Okay, I'm sorry if my angle changed. I had to clear some memory on my phone. But anyways, I love how this has the chicken here in the 5 of Wands. Danny Mystic talks about the chicken in the Druid Craft Tarot. And it's just kind of like, who are you in this situation, right? Are you the chicken? Are you the person fighting? But I love this paired with acclimate, accept where you are. 7 of Cups. Bitter revenge leads to destruction. If that's what you're thinking of. I love that we have like the floating head over here and then we have like, you know, the floating cups. This looks stunning together. 3 of Cups. A sacred gift is coming to you. Ace of Cups. Enter the silence and listen. King of Cups. Choose a natural solution when possible. Beautiful. Wow, I'm excited to use these together. Because I feel like, I don't know, I didn't know when to bring them out individually, but I feel like together, they are speaking to me. So the reason that I was even inspired to bring this one out in the first place, which is the Art Through the Starstream, was, let me get this out of the way, was because of this. So this is Through the Eyes of the Soul, which is also by Cheryl Yambrack Rose. And this feels like a very wintry deck to me, and I bring it out during winter. It's like paintings. I feel like a lot of times the messages on these ones can be difficult, or just I don't know how to apply them. This is the most grounded out of all of the decks, I feel like, though, that I have by her. I don't know. This one has I feel like the art through the Starstream does have really a lot of good messages. I feel like you just have to take more time with these ones. I mean, there's some that are just like, follow your heart, you know, but I feel like this is a winter deck, so I like bringing it out during the winter. So definitely gonna play with that one. I feel like this might actually pair well with the Anna K, like that practical with the impractical. That might work. I don't know, but I feel like I can play around with that. Okay, last but not least, I'm just really feeling connected to this energy with like the Greenwich Tarot, with, you know, all the witchy decks. This is the Druid Craft. I'm just feeling drawn towards this like this kind of naturey pagan decks, which is interesting because it's like normally a summertime thing, but I don't know. This is just the energy. I mean, I've used the Druid Craft a lot. This is my second copy because the first one I butchered the modification of it. But I just love the imagery on here. So I don't know. This deck, I use it all year round, but it just, I'm being drawn to use it during this time, even though it doesn't specifically feel like wintry to me. It just feels like pagan and naturey, and I'm connected to that energy right now. Like that's what I want to connect with. So I want to bring out the deck I want to really pair with this, which I have paired with the Druid Craft before, but not this version, is the Mists of Avalon. I love this oracle. I paired it with the Druid Craft during the summer and it was beautiful, but I thought it would look really good with the green borders because my other version doesn't have green borders. So King of Wands with inspiration, rebirth, creativity, and transformation. I mean, perfect. Six of Wands with life direction, autonomy, fate, and karma. These like sing together. This is like such a good pairing. Nine of Pentacles with energy, healing, gratitude, and protection. Tell me that those don't go so beautifully together. The Other World with Seven of Pentacles, journey, the ethereal, everlasting, and rebirth. The Wheel with Mists of Avalon, enchantment, illusion, transformation, and boundary. She's literally like drawing a boundary, a wheel. So I don't know, this is so beautiful together. Six of Swords, the Chalice Well, sanctuary, flow, creative force, and Mother Earth. I mean, look at those together, you guys. I'm sorry, one more. Morgan Le Fay. Four of Cups with magic, intuition, fate, and prophecy. What are you missing out on here? A prophecy? Magic? Like, come on. Strength with manifestation, authenticity, renewal, and freedom. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry, I said one more and then I did one more after that. But, I mean, I'm so excited to use those together. I feel like they're just meant to be together. So is that all? What's in this? Yeah. Those are the ones I really want to focus on. They're the ones I've kind of moved to the forefront of like my desk over here. In my, like I have piles of decks, or like stacks of decks. So I want to try to draw from these as much as possible when I'm looking to do a reading, right? I want to grab from these. And again, I do have some decks coming, which I feel like will pair really well with all of these ones. There's one deck I have that I feel like is just this energy so much. And then I have two decks coming that I bought specifically kind of to pair with each other. And I'm excited to get those. I don't know if they're specifically like the energy I'm feeling right now, but they're beautiful. So I'll show you guys those when those come in. But yeah, let me know, what are you guys excited to use during this time? What energy are you feeling drawn to work with during the winter time? I would love to know. If you would like a personal reading from me, I do offer them down in the description box in my Etsy. If there's any decks that I showed you guys today that you request in a reading, I'd be happy to do that as well. So yeah, let me know what kind of content you guys want to see. I'm a little, not uninspired, but I just don't really know what to film. I'm probably gonna film my like paranormal decks, like decks to use with spirit work, because that's been a main thing I've been doing. Sorry, I'm looking for a deck. Anyway, so look forward to that. That's probably coming up soon, is like decks I use for spirit communication. So yeah, if there's any topics you want me to talk about in Tarot Unsolved, please let me know that as well. But I hope you guys are having a wonderful November. Are you excited for Christmas, Thanksgiving? I would love to know. But I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.